Let's look at this simple mathematical equation. When we see 2 plus 2, the variables behave in a specific way. They collapse, pointing to a single answer, 4. This is called convergent thinking. It's where multiple variables are funneled down to one objectively correct outcome. Our foundational educational systems are engineered entirely around this model. We spend years taking standardized tests to locate the one correct bubble. A structure like this optimizes for a very specific behavior. It trains us to obey a predetermined set of rules, to find a predetermined answer, rather than generating independent, original thought. After decades of this conditioning, our brains become highly optimized to seek out certainty. We step out of the classroom assuming the rest of the world operates on that exact same system of clear-cut questions and solitary answers. Then you decide you want to build something of your own. You ask a highly unstructured question like, how do I start a business? Suddenly, there is no standardized test answer. The single correct bubble doesn't exist. Faced with this level of ambiguity, many people simply freeze. This paralysis stems from how we treat our information. We view our digital tools, the endless notes and open tabs, as just part of the furniture. Because digital knowledge work is so conceptual, it's easy to overlook that we aren't actually getting better at managing it. We're just getting more overwhelmed. If you work in a skilled manual trade like plumbing or carpentry, the path to acquiring better skills is obvious and visible. Digital knowledge work is abstract. You can't see the tools getting sharper. Our inability to navigate unstructured ambiguity comes down to a failure in our mental framework. Because we lack a clear process for handling uncertainty, we become overwhelmed, effectively blinding ourselves to the opportunities sitting right in front of us. To fix this, we need to redefine a concept we usually treat as an inherent personality trait: curiosity. Being curious is actually a deliberate discipline. It's triggered by an information gap, that moment when you realize you know just enough about a subject to realize how much you don't know. The primary tool we use to intentionally bridge that gap is what researcher Natalie Nixon calls the taxonomy of questions. We default to restrictive prompts, asking what, where, and when. These convergent questions narrow options to immediate facts, but innovation demands expansive prompts. We break that box open by asking why or what if. These divergent questions expand into multiple creative pathways. Generating unique solutions demands that we actively unlearn our reliance on those safe, convergent questions. We have to force ourselves into the discomfort of asking expansive, divergent ones. Adopting this mindset requires a very specific posture. You have to willingly become a clumsy student. Take learning ballroom dance. You only advance in that chaotic circle through deep observation and by having the humility to ask peers for help. When you adopt this clumsy posture, you remove the fear of looking foolish. It creates a safe psychological space to ask questions that might seem obvious to everyone else, but are highly probing to you. This is the optimal state of divergent thinking. You throw open the windows, turn up loud music, and deliberately expose yourself to a universe of diverse options without passing judgment on any of them. This open-ended exploration of variables provides the mental flexibility needed for leadership, standing in stark contrast to the obedience built by a convergent system. Pure curiosity carries a severe risk. An entrepreneur who lives strictly in a state of divergent exploration will collect a million ideas, but they will never actually launch a product. This graphic models a concept called the creative pendulum. Any creative work demands swinging from an expansive, divergent phase, represented by this cloud of dots, back into a highly focused, convergent phase. Convergence is an active, sometimes painful process. You have to intentionally cut off interesting pathways, eliminate viable options, and forcefully drive your remaining energy toward a final outcome. The environment required for this phase is the exact opposite of divergence. You close the doors, put on your noise-canceling headphones, and completely shut out the universe of possibilities. Recognizing which mode you are in on any given day and aggressively swinging between them is the true definition of being both creative and productive. Surviving extreme uncertainty in modern entrepreneurship requires placing multiple divergent bets, running side gigs, and managing different projects all at the exact same time. This creates a logistical problem. How do you ruthlessly converge on one project today without permanently losing track of your other wild, divergent ideas? The answer is a personal knowledge management system, often called a second brain. It acts as a structural safety net for your workflow. This external system allows you to hit pause on a divergent idea. Because the idea is preserved in a concrete medium completely outside your fragile memory, you can safely ignore it until tomorrow and pivot your entire focus. Building a business requires a specific, disciplined architecture, generating limitless ideas through clumsy curiosity and utilizing external systems to systematically converge those ideas into reality.